Alrighty guys, we have another problem, but again, these are not parallel lines. Now we're talking about, well, technically they are, but now in the form of a triangle. So we know that BD and AE are parallel. BD and AE are parallel lines. That means that their lines are never going to touch. Now they also give you a couple of more things. They're talking about corresponding angles. So when you have angles corresponding to each other, in other words, when you have parallel lines, these angles, they're called corresponding because if these two lines are more or less the same, those angles go along with each other. And let's follow along with this information. We know that measure CAE, this angle, is congruent to CBD, this one. So like I said, corresponding. We also know that CEA, so this one, is congruent to CDB, right there. So we know those two angles are the same, congruent. And the last one, we know, I don't know if you noticed this, but we're actually talking about two different triangles. We're talking about the little triangle right here and the big triangle right here. So it's a triangle within a triangle. And you have a smaller one and a big one. So with that in mind, measure angle C is equal to measure angle C. So this guy, this triangle corner is being shared by the small triangle and the big one. So because we know that at least two angles are the same, we know these triangles are similar. They are similar triangles by the AA theorem, the angle. So because at least two are congruent, we know they're going to have the same ratio. So we want to find DE. We want to find this guy. So what do? Well, first of all, let's set this up. Let's use a thicker pencil here. We know if we were to write a ratio, the ratio goes like this, right? Let's focus on this side first. So we know if we're talking about the smaller one, the 5 over 4. Actually, let's talk about this length first. So the small length will be 5. And what will be the big length for the triangle? Some people might say 3, but remember, we're talking about the whole triangle. So watch out for this. It's actually 8. You see that? And if we're talking about the other side, the small one would be 4, correct? And the one at the bottom, now we don't know what this is. We can call it X. But again, we're not just talking about this little side. We're talking about the whole thing. So whatever it is, whatever X is, you have to add a 4. So we would call it X plus 4, right? Because it's the whole side. With that in mind, it's time to do a fun little distributive property. So let's go ahead and distribute. 8 times 4 is 32. That equals 5 times X plus 4. We actually have to multiply the 5 to both of them. So that would give us, again, 32 is equal to 5 times X is 5X. 5 times 4 is 20. Now let's leave the X alone, guys. Minus 20 on both sides. That's 32 minus 20 is 12 equals 5x. Finally, divide by 5. Our x is equal to 12 fifths. There we go. Now, is that the answer we're looking for? Actually, yeah. We found this little piece. We know this little piece is actually 12 fifths. So pretty cool, 12 over 5. Now, there's also another scenario where this they might ask you, instead of just this little piece, the homework might ask you, well, what about CE? What will be my answer? And they just want to confuse you, because if you gave them this answer, it will be wrong. So for example, if they wanted to know CE instead, well, all you got to do is you add the 4 plus the 12 fifths. And if you remember how to add fractions, is basically here's what you do. Well, that 4 could be turned into a 4 over 1. And remember, you can only add fractions when the bottom is the same. So let's turn that 1 into a 5 by multiplying both by 5, which will be 5 times 4 is 20 over 5 times 1 is 5 plus 12 fifths. That would basically be, again, we're just going back to the same problem, 32 over 5. Notice how we got the same thing as over here, the same work we were doing. And 32 over 5, if they wanted a mixed number just for craziness, well, how many 5s fit in the 32? You fit 6 of them. How much do you have left? 2/5. So the whole CE, the whole of this side, all of this would be 6 2/5. It all depends which one they're asking for.